We're back. This is the SilmFilm script discussion, Season 2, Episode 3, Part 2 or 3, depending on how I wind up cutting this. Yeah, we were talking about it. I think we're ditching the Avari mentor for the time being for this episode, unless we have to change it later.
Yeah, so. Which we can do. Nothing's in stone yet.
Yeah.
I think it's too much effort to make all those connections for too little payoff, so I'm willing to not make the connections and leave it as is.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, so that being the case, we can have, we definitely can, and perhaps should have, a female Avari character that talks with Muriel. If this person is representing we should stay in this world is fantastic, this is really our place, I would feel like it's more in the spirit of who these people are if that was a Teleri person rather than a Noldor.
So what's the Noldor motivation then for staying?
I think that it has to do with I don't necessarily believe that this is a good move.
So is
it sounds dangerous. It sounds there can be suspicions of the Valar. There can be, but we built all this stuff. We don't want to leave all this stuff.
That's very elvish.
Very Noldor.
That too. So is Eol going to be part of the Noldor group?
Who? Who?
I mean, it's either that or Teleri, but he seems to be more of an angry person.
Yeah, I feel like the Teleri are too happy. Unless he's like the weird, black sheep, emo Teleri. Doesn't want to stay on the shore.
Yeah, I mean, Eol's connection with the dwarves seems to link him heavily to the Noldor. The Teleri don't really get the dwarves at all.
Right.
Like, they don't make any sense to them. The Noldor are able to enjoy good relationships with the dwarves on a number of occasions. The Teleri, not so much.
Well, I mean,
I feel like I'd probably be.
The dwarves are going to build Menegroth for Thingol.
Yes, yes, I agree. But we also know that before the Noldor arrive, because the dwarves start popping up, they're hunting them, right? Like, the English hunted the Aborigines in Australia, because they didn't think they were really people.
Yeah, not a good move, but yes.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, I wasn't trying to argue for elves and dwarves getting along great in general, just pointing out there was at least one case.
Yes, I agree. But I feel that Eol's connection to the dwarves does seem to be some evidence of him being Noldor. Him being a smith, I mean, it seems to make a certain amount of sense. How he winds up as far west as he does, I mean, I guess he just goes off by himself and that's where he lands, but...
A long time.
There's definitely questions there.
Yeah.
And we probably shouldn't answer most of those because the whole point of a character like Eol is to leave him fairly mysterious.
Yeah, I agree.
He's one of my favorites. I don't want to explain him too much.
Yeah. Let's
leave him creepy and weird.
Yep. Agreed.
How did I know that he was one of your favorites, Karita? How did I know?
She likes Ungoliant. Like, clearly.
He's the new Ungoliant.
I have a type. I can admit it. I know what I like.
Sorry. If your type is Ungoliant and Eol.
Oh,
Dark and
God.
My love for the Sons of Feanor is making me feel less bad about this situation.
I'm trying to think of who my go-to Turin. Turin's my
Turin?
yeah.
Easier to.
That's probably my favorite character in the Silmarillion. Like nothing goes right for this man. Not a thing. And it's all his own fault.
Right. I mean, also, I really like Finrod a lot, though. Finrod's awesome.
Yes.
Finrod's pretty great, yeah.
Fingolfin
he's
also
no
awesome. Fingolfin is also awesome, Alex. He is far and away one of my favorites among the Noldor. But Hurin and Turin.
Fair enough.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so
the point is, poor Karita.
Okay, like I like him weird and creepy. It's okay.
Anyway.
This is YouTube. Everybody's into different things.
and some people are really good in a story, less so than in real life.
Anyway, so we need to. All right. So if we focus in on Muriel, we have done pretty much nothing. So who's our protagonist, and what awful stuff happens to them to make them miserable, preferably die?
Well,
no dying.
Our protagonist is Muriel. The horrible thing that's happened is she has to figure out whether or not she's getting married, and she will die, in fact. Just not this episode.
Yeah.
As a direct result of her decision here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just more proof that men are trouble and should be avoided at all costs. Not really, Nick. We're glad you're here.
I'm glad somebody is.
Yeah, I think Muriel might come to that point of view at some point, but I wouldn't think that's a general lesson that the viewer should take away from our story.
Probably not.
Men are trouble.
Unless men are trouble, avoid them. No, men are great, because, like, I don't know, Hurin's a guy, and he's pretty cool.
Yeah,
his story ended really badly, too. Never mind. Men are still trouble.
Does your husband watch these videos? Just out of curiosity.
Maybe. I don't know. We can ask him next month.
Anyway, so.
No. I think it'd be fine if we use Muriel as a character. I think she's interesting enough. She has a sad ending, which makes her,
Yes, but she doesn't have a sad ending here. I think what Alex is asking is what bad things are going to happen to her here.
We got a wedding.
Maybe the caterer screws up what kind of cake they should bring to the wedding. That's a terrible thing to happen, right?
I don't think I can picture Muriel as a bridezilla.
Do elves have cakes?
Lemon Okay, so
if we invented a family member for her, could she be not at odds with them? I don't think we need family drama. We already have enough family drama, but I don't know. She comes to one conclusion and they come to another. They advise her one way, she goes the other way. I mean, that could be kind of sad.
She could have a family member that winds up staying behind.
Yeah.
That winds up following.
Well, there's your sad, tragic story.
Yeah.
If she has to lose a parent or a sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah. So if Nerwin if Nerwin winds up following Morway as along with the other Noldor, the other half of the Noldor.
It wouldn't be the first time
personally, but
that an unsuccessful suitor goes for younger sister. We could have a double wedding.
Except on different sides of the planet.
Yep. Or a happy wedding, which leads into the great debate, and then they go their separate ways.
Yeah.
Like the wedding could be earlier.
Okay, well that could be our opening. That could be our opening.
Oh, there was a suggestion that they were gonna like get engaged at the end of the last episode. I don't know if that suggestion was serious, but that was.
I don't know. I don't know that we need to. I mean, I felt like there didn't need to be any actual words said at the end of.
It was just a happy reunion.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't sure how explicit it was that they were now like an item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do elves get engaged? I mean, I'm assuming that no one gets down on one knee and there's like a ring. It's probably different.
Rings. The rings, I think, are at the wedding ceremony. There's rings at the wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Laws and Customs in the Elder that explains Elvish weddings, but that might be later. This is pretty early in Elvish culture, so their weddings might not quite follow the...
No metal.
Right.
Okay.
I think it was supposed to be silver rings.
Well, okay. Alex says that he wanted the second episode to end with Muriel demanding a wedding.
Right. I think her response to greeting Finway coming back is, finally you're back, let's get married.
Now during time, so let's get this wagon hitched. Come on.
Yeah. Well, or let's not wait until something else happens.
Right.
Okay. So,
I mean, whether or not we do that at the end of episode 2 or the beginning of episode 3 is kind of unimportant, as long as we showed a happy reunion at the end of episode 2, and episode 3 begins with wedding plans. I don't care when the actual exchange of will you, yes, I do, all that kind of stuff happens.
Okay. All right. So
I think I'm just gonna keep asking weird questions about Elvish culture and customs, and wait and see if I can't find one that Marie doesn't know the answer to. It's gonna be my challenge for the season. You'll never see it coming.
Just saying.
There's only so many things Tolkien told us, so there's a lot that the answer is we don't know. I'm sorry if I give the impression that we know all these things. We don't.
Alex
it's delightful. I find it entirely charming.
Alex says that it's silver for engagement and gold for marriage.
Yeah.
Aww. That's cute.
Okay. So we can actually open up with wedding or wedding plans. What do we think?
Wedding plans, because you don't want to start right into the wedding, especially if you're going to do a double wedding.
Why? I don't necessarily think we're going to do a double wedding.
If her sister's going to marry the other guy.
Well, I mean, I wasn't actually thinking of her following him personally. I was just thinking of her following his plan.
I see.
Where's the drama in plans? Cut straight to the interesting meat.
Okay.
Dude, you realize that there's 2 women in this thing.
Hey!
And that is clearly...
Wedding, so, leave me out of that.
Weddings are nice.
Okay. There's a lot of drama in wedding plans, Alex. I've had one.
I hear that happened. Mine was fairly low key, but I hear that happens.
Did Loki officiate it? That seems right up your alley.
You're so funny.
I know.
So
That's
funny.
terrible. That's terrible. I'm becoming my father more and more by the day. Who watches this?
But no, the main drama in wedding planning tends to happen if people don't approve of the marriage. That's the... I mean, there's the planning stuff of people having different ideas of what should happen, but the bigger picture is if somebody doesn't want the wedding to happen, that's a bigger form of drama. And hopefully most people...
So Muriel could have a family member who doesn't approve.
Right, because Finway just came back all glowy after being gone for hundreds of years or something.
Right. Yeah. So what if could this person be a father or a brother, and then Nerwin can still be a Telarian who gives her more, or her mom? I would just like there to be some discussion from the Teleri perspective. the less aggressive perspective.
Well, in the debate there will be, but in the beginning, what happens when Elway comes home? Like, he greets his brother, and like obviously there's no
Right.
wedding plans, but is there something on Elway's side that he needs to work out with his brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, more and more, it seems like the story can't be centered on any one character. We're going to have to see private moments from different individuals' perspectives.
Well, you can have A plot, B plot, C plot, right? Like,
Yeah.
the C plot doesn't have to involve your main character. It usually doesn't. So.
Okay. So, I mean, A plot is obviously the debate itself.
Right.
B plot...
She has to center on Muriel if she's our main character.
Right. B plot is the wedding and the surrounding brouhaha.
Yes.
And the C plot is
something to Larry.
Private moments between Elway, Alway, and Teleri Avari representative number 6.
Which we're thinking now is the Nerwin character.
What if? Okay, because we established that Elway. No, because the host definitely wanted there to not be somebody that Elway had in mind for himself before he meets Melian.
Oh, okay, so Melian doesn't break someone's heart.
Say it again?
So Melian doesn't break anyone's heart by showing up.
Well, what I'm suggesting is, what if that's already happened? What if there is some interaction with a female Teleri who doesn't go? To mirror the fact that Finway's girl does go.
Yeah.
That has potential.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The debate isn't a plot so much as scenery for the plots to happen. Yeah,
This is like the episode, like, love connections, missed and unmet.
Oh gosh. Okay.
It happens.
Well, it will set up the next episode because he's gonna meet Melian in episode 4, right?
Yeah.
So him being single while Finway gets married and Ingwe is already married.
Okay.
Sets that up.
I have a suggestion for this. What if he's not seeing his hand in front of his face? What if he's not noticing? Because he's been lamenting that there's no. I don't know. He's been lamenting, but he lamented sort of that there was no that he didn't have this, and he could have. He just didn't notice.
Yeah, I can see that because the way Elway and Melian meet is very like fated from the beginning of time sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it seems to me that Elway would not notice another girl.
Rather than him leaving her with his heart being heavy, and then he bumps into Melian and everything's fantastic.
Right.
He leaves her brokenhearted.
And so she's brokenhearted and he never noticed. Yes, that I can see. Well, come on,
really
Elway's the kind of coolest guy who would do that. He's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's very like adventurous and wants to go on journeys and do all this stuff. Like he's not interested in settling down.
Yeah.
So he's not even really thinking about it.
She's all like, "Hi, Elway," and he's like, "I must go adventure," and she's like, "Okay," and then he falls in love with like a celestial being. And
then he meets an angel and is frozen in place for several hundred years.
Exactly. Hard to compete. Exactly. And she's a perfect 25 and a half. I mean, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so that can be our C plot, maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe, until someone gets a hold of it in the forums and they're like, this is stupid and I hate it, and why don't we do this instead?
Yeah.
You know, that could happen.
That's all right. That's all right. I am able to. I am capable of defending the choices made in these things.
You are,
Up
yes.
to the task.
I usually try to be a little more diplomatic, but you jump right in with, nope, this is the way it's going to be.
I usually just like hang back and wait and just watch silently.
I don't say this is what's going to be. I say this is what was actually in our minds, and this is what's in my mind now as I'm thinking about this. This is my defense for this position. You can take with it what you want.
Yes. Yeah, no, I do that.
I love reading things, and like you haven't responded yet, and like going, oh, I bet Nick's gonna say something back to. I can't wait to see what Nick says about this. It's really fun. So keep it up. Good stuff.
All right. So we need to kind of nail down when these things are going to happen. Okay. So we have the intro into the. I guess we're going to have to come back to the frame and deal with that in a moment.
Let's get the actual story figured out before the frame this time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Screw the frame.
Pretty much. Let's screw the frame until we get this.
Yes. All right. So we have our intro, which is the wedding plans. Everybody's excited.
Yeah.
Little elven girls with flowers. You know, it's all wonderful.
It's a community celebration. It's a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are singing.
Darn. No, we've established that there are flowers. Because we had Yavanna invent flowers in season 1, not Yavanna, Vanna.
For Tulkas and Nessa's wedding, at the destruction of the lamps, because the destruction of the lamps corresponds historically to the KT extinction event in our version of the story, and therefore there are flowers. just pretend that what I said made sense there.
Yeah, that sounded really official, Marie.
The flowers. We actually had this discussion a while ago. There are flowers that do grow in moonlight, and the flowers that we do see blooming at the rising of the sun. It only talks about flowers blooming like at. Help me out.
It's under the feet of the host of Fingolfin as he comes across the ice into Middle Earth. The flowers bloom beneath his feet.
Yeah.
It's just
we're gonna do that. But there are flowers, and there have been flowers in Middle Earth since halfway through the last season.
Yes. So, and they were invented specifically for a wedding. So, it's a callback. It's a callback.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely having flowers.
Okay.